Welcome to the Superintendent's Corner. I'm your host, Max Rassega, along with Superintendent Tim Saxton. Mr. Saxton, thank you for joining us today.
Good morning.
So the school board meeting on March 28th was packed with recognition, and I was there with the basketball team. And as a team member, it was just something I really enjoyed seeing, and just how we showed everyone just our appreciation for how our sports teams did this year. So I was just curious, what were your impressions based off of that board meeting?
Well, I said it that night, and I meant it. I think that is a record since I have been associated with the Boardman schools for recognition. That's not easy to say, a record for recognition, but over 65 minutes of recognition. And I know you were there as part of athletics, but it really crossed all the different aspects of the Boardman schools we're proud of, the different A's. So obviously the athletics, which was probably one of the most successful winter sports seasons, coming off of an outstanding fall sports season. But also academics, because you had things like Quiz Bowl being recognized, which is just an annual success for us. But also the arts, winning being selected for the Governor's Award. We had two young ladies being selected for their fire safety posters. You know, we had two winners in Boardman. Every now and then we get one, but we had two, and there was 12 selected across the state of Ohio. So it was a good night, a really good night for Boardman, just to show off what our kids are doing, and in a way that's refreshing, because that's been happening. There's been other things that have maybe gotten more media attention, but to see our kids being recognized, that has always been happening. It's good to bring it back to the forefront.
And then another thing I noticed from the meeting was that Stadium Drive Principal Mike Sicali, he stepped up and he thanked some groups and organizations for their donations, and I was just curious, how do these groups help us?
Yeah, well, I mean, I might be a little bit biased being a Boardman grad, living in Boardman, working for Boardman, but Boardman truly is a special place, not just because of the arts, athletics, and academics, but also the partnership we have with the community. The schools and the community work so well together, and I thought that was a nice piece, just a nice little snapshot to recognize all those partnerships. Mr. Zaccoli just talked. He mentioned probably about 8 to 10 businesses who have worked with him, over $8,000. That's going back to kids, you know, for kids' needs, you know, clothes, shoes, different holiday meals, and different holiday gifts. And like I said, that's a snapshot that's happening in many of our buildings, and I respect Mike taking the time to recognize some of those unique partnerships.
Now, I know that there's still a few more months of school left, but summer's coming up quick, which also brings summer school. So can you tell everyone just about the summer school program this year? I'm
sure everyone listening is they like to hear the word summer and summer school and quick. I don't know, sometimes with this weather we wonder if summer's going to make it, but let's warm ourselves up and talk a little bit about summer and summer school. But yeah, summer school has always been a part of the Boardman schools, but last year and continuing this year, it really has been beefed up, so to speak. Our focus has been on gap closing and academic intervention. So once again, we'll see that increased summer school. So if a student, especially in K through 8, is in need of any type of academic intervention, support, remediation, the principals are on top of it. We do some great data gathering and analysis, but if there's a family out there that says, look, I just don't think my child is where they should be, call the principal, call the counselor, and work with them to get them scheduled into summer school. So we'll do a lot of remediation as needed, but also high school has always been a place for summer school. We will not only do remediation at the high school, but many kids at high school, because they're in great activities like this and want to free up their schedule, will take classes for what we call advancement. So maybe take a summer phys ed or a health class or the new financial literacy. Those classes are not remediation, so there is a charge for those, but all our remediation classes are free.
Now, I noticed in there that you mentioned K through 8, and I wanted to speak on kindergarten, as we already had the big registration day. Now, what can parents do to set up an appointment for, if they haven't already, for their child for kindergarten?
The best thing is call enrollment officer. Nikki Blumel in enrollment will take good care of them. But I urge them, if they missed the official day of kindergarten enrollment, please do that ASAP. Why is that important? We covered that on our last show, but again, let me reiterate, one of the big reasons is to be in the communication channel. be aware of upcoming events, and make sure that the school's aware that you're going to be part of their building family. And that leads into another very successful summer school program called Success by Six, which is a great partnership with United Way. But we have these young kindergarten kids who may be going to school for the first time. So starting on July 11th, it's a program that runs from about 8:30 to about noon. It just gets them ready for school. And there's an old saying, all's well that ends well, but we believe all's well that starts well. And if a young child, a young Spartan can get in there early and just become familiar with the school and some of their teachers and their principal, what a smooth transition it can create. So highly recommend get your child registered and get in that program. It's going to be a win-win for that child.
Now, just recently, we got done with one of our nicest productions here of Project Mayhem, which had a great turnout and it was a great show. And all the buzz, all the rage is that people want to hear about the outside show. Now, can you tell us what you know about all of that?
Yeah, well, good news and bad news. I'll start with the bad news. We tried to get the Cleveland Browns Stadium booked. But I think there already was an event. I don't know, Rolling Stones or U2, I think, might have bumped us out. So we're looking at maybe Spartan Stadium, which is the second best stadium in Ohio. But so talking to Mr. Amador, we're dreaming a little bit, and we're looking at some outdoor venues. But I know what they're some of the ideas they have, maybe doing something pretty close to around commencement. And I think it would be a really nice way to end the year. And weather will be nice. I know last year, what a tremendous concert outside. And I can tell you, I've been going to Project Mayhem since I think 2007 when they first started. And I said this the other day, every year I come back and I'm like, there's no way that they're going to top the previous year. And they do it. It's just amazing. And I actually had the opportunity to stand up here and watch. I like watching from up here. And I look at the crowd, and you have little kids and you have grandparents, and they're all rocking and swaying. So it is such a neat event. So I'm confident we're going to be able to pull off a early summer, a June event in Spartan Stadium. Stay tuned.
Can't wait. Now, just the last thing is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, since we're talking about warmer weather and summer and approaching the end of school, there's a long-standing tradition in Boardman, not just with the Boardman schools, but in Boardman, of the Memorial Day Parade. And I know because of some COVID influence, that hasn't happened the last couple of years, but it's back. You know, Mark Luke, who's a Boardman graduate, has done a phenomenal job the last couple of years being the organizer and overseeing and coordinating. So he spoke at the board meeting and announced that it is back. Our launching area is behind center and a nice new paved lot this year, so that'll be beneficial. We meet around 9 and then we launch at 10. And it's just a great event for Boardman. I know the Boardman schools are part of it, but a lot of different facets of the Boardman community. It's, again, makes Boardman Township special. And then we end in Boardman Park, which is also a special place. And to have one more layer of special, this year's speaker will be Jim Gutterby, who's spent over 30 years of his education career here in Boardman. Actually was one of my coaches, and when I first became high school principal back in 2002, to me, one of the best parts of that was I got to spend a year working side by side with Mr. Gutterby, because just a phenomenal and inspirational individual, and I was able just to pluck nuggets of wisdom from him. So, and a mentor of mine. So, looking forward to hearing him speak at Boardman Park on Memorial Day.
Well, I want to thank you once again for joining us today, Mr. Saxton.
It's great to be here. I always enjoy being here at BSTN.
That's all for today. I'm Max Rassega from BSTN. Have a great day, Boardman.